I think of a lot, it like anything, like we talk about nuclear or whatever that is, it's just miseducation with folks, right?
Yeah. And to that, I love that point that you made there. And I would even add, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that, like you said earlier, members of Congress, senators, administration officials, they're expected to know a lot and to do a lot. And there's no way that they could know what's important to constituents or stakeholders unless they're presented with those things. But the key piece of that is in a way that they can understand what they can do. And so that's what lobbyists, advocates really do. They translate needs, like business needs, into public policy suggestions, and then communicate that to the right stakeholders, the right members of Congress and other public sector leaders that actually have the power to decide whether or not it's a good idea. And it's that communication. I think there's a lot of folks, a lot of members of the public that conflate lobbying activities with campaign finance activities. They're not
Yep.
always the same.
High stakes environments demand a different kind of leadership. What traits matter most when pressure is relentless, do you think?
I think uh, I think it's important. It might be a cliche, but I think it, when there is a true emergency, the right leaders emerge that are those that act accordingly. Sometimes, if you read these self-help books and management books, they'll say, calm leaders that could, maintain an even keel. Okay, great, right? You don't want to alienate your workforce. You don't want to, um, contribute to any nervousness. But if there really is a high stakes environment, you have to rise to that level and execute it. You can't just sit back and, oh, it'll all work out. No, it might not work out. And now's the time that we need to act and we need to be, all in. Um, One thing I loved about working on the Hill is it's always a high stakes environment. You're actually creating policies that are going to impact 360 million people and potentially the entire world. But the great thing about the Hill is, they're in session and then they're not in session. So when you're in session, you know that, okay, the expectation is I need to be on call, front and center, doing everything. I'm probably going to work long hours. But when they're out for a week, okay, well, it's 9 to 5, and I'm just making sure I'm catching up, and
We know
it's
those days when they're out because you guys are wearing like they're wearing jeans and they're wearing every time I go up and cross into the Capitol, I'm like, oh, this means they're on recess because these guys are they're eating lunch. But sorry, continue. Yes.
no, but I think that's just it, right? And I think one thing I wish corporate America did was, because what I see is in Congress they kind of have it right, right? You work really hard when you have to, and when you don't, well, you're a human being, and you need a little time.
Yep.
Whereas even in the administration, it's like always on, and it's just this grind all the time. In corporate America, I see the same thing too. A lot of companies say they're about work-life balance and they want people to bring their whole self, but I think workers, especially the higher up you go, the more executive somebody is, there's there's a willingness to be your best and to execute at that high level, but there also has to be a little bit of a trade-off every once. And I think I don't see that always embraced by corporate America. I wish that they could learn that from Congress.
Agreed. And I I couldn't agree more on, I am a sucker and I love leadership books and all that too, but you're right to always be calm. It's right. I mean,
Right.
because when we solve solutions and we offer problems, so when something happens, my team would never say, hey, Sarah is calm as hell. They would say,
Right.
no, I'm intense. I'm not crazy. I'm not screaming at you, but I'm very intense for sure.
Right.
And I think if I had someone come in and clean up, if we had a breach in data or something else, and everybody was just slowly moving around calm, like you said, I I would be a little bit, it would be unnerving to me to be like, what are they going to do anything? Or they? So I 100% agree. Is like match that intensity, right? It's
Right.
not that you're, sitting in yoga position singing kumbaya to them. It's that, you're matching that intensity of like what the problem is and let's get it done and
Right.
fixed. So, okay, so we got some lightning round prompts, three more questions. So kind of first things that pop in your head for sure.
Okay.
One leadership habit you learned in government that still matters today.
You have to bring all the stakeholders along. You can't leave people out.
That's great. Adoption, absolutely. Advice you give to someone stepping into a high stakes role for the first time.
You'd be surprised how deep your well is when you need it.
Love it. For listeners who want to learn more about your work or connect with you, where's the best place for them to find you?
So, my firm has a website,